Hey guys, so I did watch Carl's video. In a way, this will be my apology to Karl. I think this is fair, and in a legal sense, I think this is going to be relevant. I'm a patent copyright attorney. I do immigration mostly as a hobby, pro bono. That means I don't charge for it. But I'm not a bankruptcy attorney. I'm not a Australian attorney. What I felt was very strange in this case was how the case unraveled around the Apollo legend, the claims. I'm not going to say that I know exactly what happened in bankruptcy because I do not know and I didn't look into the paperwork. But the majority of my videos are me just reading legal documents and maybe 10-15% commentary because I don't feel and I haven't done the research to be a bankruptcy expert or a defamation expert. I've taken a few First Amendment classes, including First Amendment, in law school. So I do feel that this is an area of interest that I've had. But covering these cases, I understand civil procedure because that's all lawyers need to understand that. I understand how motions get sent and so on. But as to predicting how this verdict would go, I thought Karl would win for the majority of the time I was making videos. Until I bumped into Apollo Legend, did some homework on Apollo Legend. Apollo Legend, his story is so jarring in my opinion that it did shift my opinion of Karl and Billy Mitchell in the case itself. Now, Karl, of course, has made a response video, which I'm responding to. People are like, "Oh, why didn't you respond to it instantaneously?" Because it's a 2-hour video, and it does take time to watch the video and then kind of condense the ideas Karl was making. So if I have offended Karl's wife in any way, it wasn't my objective to do so. I was just talking about this looks kind of weird. And I still believe it looks kind of weird because, in the American sense, us as Americans would look at what Karl was doing and say, and the transfer of mortgages and titles and companies, it just looks weird, right? And then you add it with Karl's statements and so on. So, number one, I never reported Karl to the government or the trustee. If I encourage people, and it looks like some people did actually report, then no, I'm sorry for that, right? I am sorry for that. That was a overstep, and I admit I made a mistake there. It wasn't my intention to hurt your family. Now, back to a situation that has happened recently to me that I've made very public in the community tabs, also on YouTube videos. There was a time where I just stopped making Karl Jobst videos. And in fact, the video I just privated was the first video in a long time that I made about Karl Jobst, given that I make free videos a day. We've long since moved on from Karl, and honestly, outside of the lawsuit being over and maybe the bankruptcy proceedings, there was nothing else to cover, and the bankruptcy is private. It seems like it's very private, or it's impossible to get the documents that is happening there. So I had no access to the documents Karl showed in relationship to the bankruptcy proceedings. I will offer Karl this apology. If Karl feels that I have defamed him, I will give him 2 advantages in the lawsuit should he choose. And I will give Karl fans a good odds, right, on betting on Karl to win if he does sue. I will give him 1. I will put the money in escrow. He does not have to worry about winning and then losing a chunk of money. Whatever money he sues me for, assuming it's less than $1 million. So I'm thinking it's around $450,000, something around there. That is the amount Billy Mitchell sued him for. I'm willing to put an escrow with the judge and the court system. And you can do this. You can do this. You can actually put an escrow with your own lawyer, but you could put an escrow with Karl's lawyer, whatever it is, right? Or even the court. So I'm happy to do that for Karl, so he knows that if he sues me and wins, there are damages that will be paid out. I'm also happy to share Karl live information about my bank status and my information, so he knows that even before he commits to a lawsuit that there is money there, but I will promise him the money will be in escrow. Number 2, I promise to only represent myself. There is a lot of commentary that I'm not a real lawyer, or I'm a very bad lawyer, or I'm, so bad I retired. That's not normally how retirement works, by the way. Normally, when you retire, it means that you've done a good job at something and you have saved up enough money to be able to enjoy the rest of your life, right? So I'm willing to only I will not seek. So I have a great lawyer in Houston. He defended me and we resolved our case very, not amicably, but we did it in the best way. I would have used him. I will represent myself and only myself, right? So there will be no paralegals, no secretaries. If what Karl says, and I'm such a bad lawyer, this will be a slam dunk and an easy win for him. The statute of limitations in the U.S. for defamation, I will run it all the way until the end. So will not change my mind if Karl sues me here. And that would be my apology to Karl. If Karl really feels like I wronged him in that severe of a way, I say, let's resolve it in the courts. Let's resolve it. Let's make it all public. And in the U.S., all these documents become public. So in Australia, it was really hard. You had to actually ask the courts for documents, and many times they wouldn't give it to you. In the U.S., all documents will probably be on Court Listener. That's where we follow Logan Paul, and that's where we follow Proven, and every other case, Destiny. Every case is public in the U.S. And that way, it will be very transparent, and there won't be any problems there. So that is my apology to Karl. If Karl truly feels, and it's not for internet clout or intention, that I have wronged him, then this very, very bad attorney who sucks at being an attorney is willing to represent himself, put the money in escrow, and even take odds. I will take odds of what odds do you guys want? I will take, I don't know, the odds that we can do. We'll just donate to charity anyway. We'll donate it to some indie land charity. So that's my response. My response to Karl is very simple, is, hey, this is an apology to you. Let's, I don't know exactly, you've said some things in video, you probably left some things out. Let's just make it transparent. What statements did you feel and at what level? Let's just go to court. I mean, that is what court is meant to do. Back in the olden days, before social media and in you making videos, that's what you did. If your neighbor defamed you, you would take them to court. And maybe there's settlement, maybe not. And I'll add a third thing to this, and I'll put this in my comments. I will not settle out. So I will go the whole way because that will be advantageous to Karl. I will not settle out. Again, the idea is if Karl wants to settle, that's fine. But if Karl does not want to settle, that's also fine. I'm fine with whatever he wants to do here. So I think I've given him very good reasons to sue me for defamation, and we'll see if he does it. Other than that, I guess that's it for the video. Probably going to get some interesting comments, and yeah. If you cannot take it, you cannot dish it, right? Don't dish something you cannot take. Also, I'm not Canadian. Everyone knows I live in Houston, Texas. Like, I have a Pokemon star here. Anyway, bye, guys.